What's going on, all you beautiful people? This is Manufactured Opinion here, bringing you some more Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen gameplay. And today we are talking about that subject that nobody likes talking about, and that is death. But I think we can make an exception today because it is the cute, cuddly death of Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, and we all just want to give him a hug. But one of the most popular messages / comments that I receive is how to kill death the fastest, and I'm going to one-up that in this video. I'm not only going to show you the fastest way to kill death, I'm going to show you the easiest way to get him to infinitely respawn. Now, the reason that I say that is because the first time you're running through Bitter Black Isle, death actually has set locations that he will show up. So technically you can farm him there, and you can keep going back to him over and over again, and he'll show up in the same locations. But eventually you're going to want to kill Daimon for his loot, for his armor, for his experience, whatever the case may be. Eventually you're going to get through all of Bitter Black Isle, and you'll defeat Daimon, like I just said. Now the problem with that is, once you do that, death will no longer have set locations, and he'll love to just show up at random times when you're at your weakest point and kill all of your pawns, send them back to the rift, and make you go crazy having to go all the way back, especially if you don't have a lift stone, you have to run all the way back, and it just gets me really pissed off. So I have come here to solve your problems, and I actually found this by mistake. And you'll see that if you go back to the beginning of this video, I already had Death's health down a little bit, and that was me testing this theory out. Now, essentially what happened was I was in the first garden that you run into right after the woman aura. The very first place you run into, there's going to be a bunch of Saurians, either a bunch of Saurians, a bunch of goblins, after you defeat Daimon. It's the Garden of Ignominy. I think that's how you pronounce it. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, you can call me a derp in the comments. But anyways, it's that garden. Now, what you're going to want to do, and you already saw the beginning of this video, I actually got lucky. As soon as I ran into this the very first time, death was already there. But essentially what you're going to want to do is kill everything there if death isn't there. Kill everything in the garden, in this courtyard. Save the game. Stab yourself. Don't use a wakestone. Retry, or stab yourself. What I mean by stab yourself is use the Godsbane. Stab yourself with the Godsbane. Don't use a wakestone. Retry. And then when you reload your save, you're going to want to use Rancid Meat, or the Rancid Bait, excuse me. And you can get the Rancid Bait at Barak, I believe his name is, right next to Aura at Bitter Black Isle. Now, use the Rancid Meat when you reload your save, like I said. And every time you do this, death will respawn. Every single time. Now, remember, like I said, you have had to have already killed Daimon for this to work, because death will already have his set locations if it's the first time you're running through Bitter Black Isle. This will work every single time. Now, how I came into this was kind of weird. I was trying to manipulate the loot in some of the chests in the garden, and I was throwing down the Rancid Bait because I wanted to farm Garms so that I could get the Sinister Hide, so I could upgrade whatever, I forget what piece of equipment it was, but I wanted to upgrade one of the pieces of my equipment, and I really wanted Sinister Hides. And I remember that Garms show up a lot in this garden, so I was, just Godsbaning myself, trying to find different loot, trying to get the Garms to show up with my Rancid Bait, and I realized that every time I was using it, death was showing up. Even when I ran out of the location and ran back in, death was still showing up. So I tested it out a little bit, and that's the reason why you see I already have half of his health down, was because I kept testing it over and over and over again, and it came out to be that this will work every single time. So you come in here, you kill everything, save, quit, or save, you save your game, stab yourself with the Godsbane, reload your save, don't use a wakestone, reload your save. When you reload your save and use the Rancid Bait, death will show up. You kill death, or just keep damaging death if you can do it in one go. Good for you. If you can't, keep damaging death. When he disappears, you're going to want to run out of the area, come back in, save, quit, save Godsbane, and then reload your save. Don't use a wakestone. Use the Rancid Bait again, and death will show up all over again, and you can just repeat that cycle over and over again until death is dead. And then you're going to want to go back to Aura, rest, and then come back in here. Everything will have respawned, and you can do the process as many times as you want. Now, what you see here in that last clip you saw that I wasn't really doing too much damage to Death. That is because I forgot my blast arrows. I didn't know that Death would actually be spawning so many times, so I ran out of blast arrows. But essentially what you're going to want to do is use any sort of ranged class with blast arrows in Conqueror's Periaps. Now the reason why you don't see me absolutely tooling on Death in, you know, under a minute is because I am suffering the awful consequences of putting Fornival's ass in jail, and he is completely gone now. He has an unlimited supply of Conqueror's Periaps, which I do not have access to because I thought he was a dick and he belonged in jail. No good deed goes unpunished, my good sirs and lovely ladies. And as you can see here, without Conqueror's Periaps at all, the blast arrows are still staggering him. So if you have those Conqueror's Periaps, you'll be able to destroy him easily in under a minute, even on hard mode. This is on hard mode, so I mean, you can see the damage I'm doing to him here. It doesn't really take that much effort. In terms of blast arrows, you can find them on the woman in Grand Sorn, the woman that sells all the curatives. I forget what her name is. I think it's Carmelia or something like that. She has an unlimited supply of blast arrows, so you can go to her and buy all of those. Like I said, any sort of ranged class, whether it be the Ranger or the Assassin, both work extremely well. I highly recommend that if you don't have either one of those vocations leveled up all the way, to go ahead and do that. It will make farming Death a hell of a lot easier. Haha, see what I did there? Ooh, I'm on fire tonight. But, on fire. Oh man, I just need to stop right now. But, lift stones will help tremendously in speeding this process up. So once you kill Death, oxymoron. Paradox has to do with time travel and all that shit. But it's an oxymoron. After you kill Death, use a lift stone, you know, rest whatever you need to do, come back in, kill everything, you know, save, use the Godsbane, reload your save without using a wakestone, use the Rancid Bait. Death will respawn. Either damage Death as much as you can, or kill Death and do the whole process over again. If you only damage Death a certain amount and didn't kill him, like I said, you're going to have to leave the area, come back in, save Godsbane, reload your save, use the Rancid Bait, and he will show up every single time. That is it for that, guys. I hope this was very informative. I was like, I couldn't believe that Death was respawning multiple times, but I guess I got lucky. So, I hope you're enjoying Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. I hope you're enjoying life. And as always, I will be talking to you later, everybody. Bye-bye now.